Hi guys, welcome back. It's Mrs. Peterson, that lady who teaches art, and today we're going to talk about how to use acrylic paint when you are painting your orange. So you're going to start always with your 6x6 piece of paper. With a pencil, you're going to write your name on the back and you're going to get your sketch of your orange. Remember, you are trying to make it look realistic. So if I just have the corner of the orange, I'm not going to see very many pieces of the orange. So don't put too many if you are just doing a corner of it. Remember, your whole paper needs to be 70% covered of the white with the media, so with our paint today. If you don't cover 70% with the orange, then you need to create a background for that. All right, so we are going to talk about how to use paint in my classroom. In my classroom, I will have the paint in little cups like this, and you will get a new color, a new spoon for each color, and you will just scoop those paints out onto there. Now, at the end of the day, you are responsible for cleaning up this spoon, or if you and a couple people use like the same 3 colors, then you could each take 1 spoon to clean. You will rinse this off with soap and water and then set it in the drying rack to dry. But while you're using it today, you can just set it on the lid. Don't leave it stuck down in the pot of paint, okay? So I'm gonna take a minute here to get my paints out on my plate, and then I'll pick the video back up from there. So now that I have my paint out on my plate, I am going to be ready to apply the paint to my actual painting. So my main color I'm going to use is going to be this kind of sea green color here. And I'm going to use a bigger brush to apply that all over the main part of my orange, little slices. When we're painting, remember, we want to just dip the tip of the brush. We don't ever want to get paint up on the metal. You can see that I can turn my brush over from when I'm done with one side, there might be paint left on the other, so I can use the other side before I go back for more. You want to be mindful, too, of how much paint you put on your plate, because this is a little painting. It's not like we're making some big masterpiece here. So we don't need a ton of paint. We don't want to waste a ton of paint. If you accidentally got too much before you start mixing them on your plate, you could always scoop some back with the spoon right back into the little container that it goes in. One great thing about paint is I love to be able to mix right while it's wet. Don't be afraid to get a little on your table. We'll clean it up at the end. So while it's wet, okay, when you have a dirty brush, you're gonna set it on your paper plate to dry. You can just set it right there like that. And then I can take a different brush for a different color, and I can just start mixing right into it. Let's say I wanted to add just some little dark details. And just start mixing that right onto that wet paint. Just adds a little bit of depth to our painting, makes it look more grown up. I never like you just to use the colors straight from the buckets, because it just looks so childish. It looks like you took out a Crayola crayon and just colored your painting. So I love it when you think to mix a color in with your paint so it looks like it's your own unique color, not someone else's. And I make my lines in the same direction as the orange. Okay. Now, while that's still wet, maybe I want to add a little bit of green. I'm going to use an even smaller brush this time. I'm just dipping the tip in. When you guys were young students, I would say something like, just put your ballerina tiptoes in, not like a sea slug. We don't want to drag it. Or try not to get any paint up on the metal. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you don't forget about your outside. So I'm going to go back to the color that I started with. Put that in the big area. Don't be afraid to twist your paper while you're working, right? And then on the outside edge, add that dark blue. Make it a nice smooth line. And then I can take my white and mix just a lighter shade right into that. Showing where those lines go down to the middle. When you are all done with your painting, of course this one needs to go on the drying rack. And then tomorrow when you come back to class, the next day that you have class, you can get it off the drying rack and put it in your folder. So it will be dry and it won't bother your other pieces that are in there. If you don't have 70% covered, make sure you paint a background, but really want you to see what you can do with blending the colors with the acrylic paint. All right, you guys, I can't wait to see what you create.